And welcome to the CNBC TV 18 special. We continue our coverage here from the World Economic Forum in Davos. And joining me now for our annual conversation is Sunil Mittal. Mr. Mittal, always a pleasure. Many thanks for joining us here in Davos. If I were to pick up on the words that describe the mood here in Davos, caution, pessimism, uncertainty, would that sum up your mood as well?
No, my mood is relaxed. But yes, Davos feels a bit different this year.
I wasn't talking about Davos.
I feel relaxed.
In general? Back home as well?
Back home as well.
Okay, so let me talk to you about what is happening with the business now. And I'll start by asking you about deleveraging, because that is a key concern. And Moody's has red flagged that issue as well. So what can we expect in terms of the three-pronged strategy that you've laid out for deleveraging? And I'll start by asking you about the African IPO.
Well, first of all, Africa has already raised pre-IPO money, $1.25 billion, which has gone to deleverage. The $5 billion debt, we are in Africa down to $3.7 billion, out of which $700 million is FLO for towers, which is not a real debt to be repaid, but just to be adjusted over time. So $3 billion debt there. At some point in time, 2019, we will have our IPO.
It was expected in the first half. Is it now been pushed to the second half? Is that the expectation?
I can't say. I think some pre-roadshows are in the offing in the coming weeks. I would say we should stay to our schedule.
Which is the second half?
No.
Or the first half?
It could be in the middle.
In the middle, okay.
We always said June, July. We never had said, I don't know, there were some reports that we'll do it early in the year. There's an election in Nigeria happening in February. There are one or two other political development, and then we have to have March closing. So it is always June, July. It was never February, March.
Okay, so June, July is the expectation. What's the expectation on valuation, given the fact that you did a pre-IPO around at $1.25 billion?
Yeah, so take that as I would say, lead into the valuation which some private investors are given. Now, depending on when you arrive at that point in time, what are the performance metrics in Africa, how are the markets, it'll all be decided at that point in time.
Let's talk about the performance metrics in Africa, because that, in a sense, has offset the trouble that you're faced with in India, and you've seen your margins go up to almost about 30-odd%. Is there room for you to be able to do more, eke out more, as far as the African side of the business is concerned?
Well, I think the last 2 years, Africa has seen a remarkable, repair and turnaround, and is there a scope for doing better? There are countries which are not kicking in. Some of those countries should kick in over a period of time. So I would say there is always a scope to improve.
Okay, now let's talk about India. Do you believe that we perhaps have seen the worst as far as the bloodletting is concerned, or do you believe that till Jio gets to that 50% market share aspiration, this is going to continue?
Well, I really can't say anything for Jio. It really is their strategy, what they want to do. But I would say we are now in a market structure which is absolutely where we wanted it to be many years back. We have spoken about consolidation for over 10 years.
You spoke right here. You told me that 2018 would be the year of consolidation, and then the idea of Vodafone happened. What are you telling me this year? What is 2019 going to be about?
I think three players which are there now. They're all mature three players. One is moving rapidly from nothing to 30%. One has moved from 40 to 30%. We are more or less stayed in the axis of 30+%. So there are three players out there now. And how this will adjust going forward, let's see. My own view is that some more percentage gain and losses will happen in this process. Let the best man win.
Speaking of the gains and losses, and, again, I ask you this, and I asked you this question last year as well on the ARPU trajectory. Given what we are seeing, the dynamics play out in India, you've gone from about 200 in FY15 to down to about 100-odd currently. Are we likely to see it go even lower from here?
Well, there's no sign of that. We have taken a minimum plan of 35 rupees now. Gone are the days when you can have 5 rupees, 7 rupees, and you just are sitting on the network freeloading. That's gone now. You need to pay a little bit to be on the network. This 35 should, in my mind, should go to 75 someday. Also remember, at 200 rupees, it was more like 250. You used to consume 800 MB of data. Now at $100, you're consuming 11, 12 gigabytes of data a month. So you're consuming 10, 11 times more and paying half, or less than half. So I would say at some point in time, depending on when, this should come back to 250, 300 rupees. It'll still be the lowest tariffs anywhere in the world. And per megabyte charges would be a fraction of what people pay in the world.
You spoke about market share, and you're now in the 30s band, and Jio has gone up in the 20s band.
No, they're also in 30s now.
Yeah. All right, in the 30s. So what do you do to hold on to the market share that you have, and perhaps even hope to better it?
Well, I would say this is not the time to claim that you better your market share. This is the time to say we will hold on to our market share. 7 quarters, 8 quarters, we have held on to a 30% plus share. A lot of people have lost, including Voda Idea have lost from where they were when they announced. So I think we are holding pretty well. Our 4G networks are doing well.
What about 5G? Because Mr. Ambani at the Vibrant Gujarat said that they're ready for a 5G rollout as well.
Well, it'll be very nice to see the 5G rollout in India as and when that happens. All I would say is we track technology closely. I personally participate in the technology development. As the chairman of GSMA, I've seen the development. Right now, the mobile use case is still being developed. 5G is a technology which is looking for services. It's not the other way around. Nobody's coming and telling us, I want this, so give me 5G. So let's see what Verizon and AT&T and KT and SKT and SoftBank find on the other side of use cases. India still needs to give mobile broadband in the hands of more and more people. And there is really nothing available in the marketplace of services which cannot be fulfilled in 4G comfortably and in a very satisfying manner. Now, robotic surgeries, autonomous cars, nuclear plants management, drone fleet management, the day it comes, I think we'll all be ready with 5G.
Okay, so you're not expecting anything significant to move on that front anytime soon?
No, I'm saying the problem is suddenly when people start to talk about 5G, the regulators, the
regulators talking about
politicians get hooked onto it 5G as it's going to be the holy grail. The fact is, let's get these services and then 5G will automatically come up. There's no question of it not coming up. When you had the content available, when you had the devices available, 4G became a norm. It will happen in 5G. But you don't need to create 5G and then wait
for
things to happen. So it is an evolution from 2G to 3G to 4G, eventually to 5G, and then we'll be talking about 6G. So this will carry on.
Okay, let me ask you about, because you mentioned content, and let me ask you about what can be the evolution as far as your content play is concerned, because that clearly seems to be a competitive advantage on the Jio side, and they're investing on that.
Well, I don't see it as a competitive advantage.
No?
No. You tell me which customer of mine is missing out on any content. We have everything. So whatever my customer wants, he gets it. In fact, we get
so does that mean you're not going to invest on the content side?
Absolutely not. We will only invest in partnerships. Netflix, Amazon, Zee, Eros, Hulu. Get us a content, we'll embrace them.
Okay, so that's an unequivocal partnership route that you intend to take as far as content is concerned. Let me also ask you about what's happening on the Infratel side. And again, you've offloaded into a wholly owned subsidiary. When can we expect that stake sale? What are the drivers that you're waiting for before you, in fact, go forward with that?
Well, we are waiting for our merger, and merger process is laborious, takes a long time. There's a shareholders meeting coming up soon. After that, we'll go into the second filing of the motion with NCLT. We expect March, April, the Indus Infratel merger to complete. And once that is done, new shares are issued to Vodafone, Idea if they want shares or cash, depending on what they want. So once that settles down, we'll start to look for a strategic buyer of significant stake from us and Vodafone.
How much would you be offloading?
Hard to say at this time. Yeah.
But ballpark? And how much do you hope to raise?
No, it depends. We will, in the merged entity, as per the program submitted to NCLT, we'll have about 38% share in the company, the merged company. Now let's see how much we want to keep and how much we want to sell. That'll determine the amount of money you raise.
So the next trigger will be somewhere after March, hopefully if you get the regulatory approvals for the merger.
Yeah, I would say summer, sometime in summer.
Equity issue, is that a possibility? People are talking about a rights issue. Is that something that you would consider? Is that something that you're looking at?
It's a possibility.
You've set up a committee to look at fundraising options.
It's probably already met and they'll be meeting, and they have a number of options to consider. And they will make a suitable recommendation to the board, and then a decision will be taken.
But what would be the most preferred option given where you stand today?
Well, could be rights, could be a preferred allotment of shares. I mean, that's where the focus is at the moment, and I think in a matter of 4 to 6 weeks we'll know where we are.
What is the aspiration in light of the deleveraging plans in terms of net debt to equity? What is it that you hope to be, you feel you will be comfortable with?
Well, I like to be less than 2 if you really ask me, but at the moment we are at about 4 plus.
Yeah.
And so the first step should be to try to get it below 3. And on the other side, if the EBITDA repairs, then automatically you get to 2. So it's a function of deleverage a little bit, improve your margins a little bit, and that could do the job. So with stake sale, with some capital raising of some form, I think we'll be able to get there.
What could be the kickers for margin expansion? You've talked about the deleveraging side, and there are several uncertainties that you need to deal with in order for that to go through. But what could be the margin
I
kicker?
think ARPU improvement. I mean, some customer acquisition as well, but by and large, ARPU improvement.
But what will drive ARPUs higher? Just the fact that there's been consolidation?
Yes. I mean, the fact is, Indian customer was not complaining when he was paying 300 rupees a month for 800 MB. If he can now get 15 GB a month and still pay
But
300.
who's going to hike prices?
No, slowly it'll start to go forward. I mean, I've told you we've done 35 rupees as a minimum pack. That's the first sign. We've done it for the last few months, and we are rolling it out all over the country.
So you're not fearful of moving down that road. You're saying that you've taken the first step and you intend to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to give better value to customers, more innovative services, more bundled, Netflix, Amazon, Wink Music, digital TV, all that is, and our bundles are getting a good traction in the marketplace. And more smartphone users are buying those bundles, and we are seeing an improvement.
You know, we talked about towers, but what about the fiber side of the business and what you hope to achieve there?
Well, fiber again, we have already, in fact, we are much ahead of everybody else.
Yes.
We started this process a year back.
Yes.
Fiber is being demerged into a separate company. We would like to invite investments there.
And how soon can we expect that?
Again, waiting for the demerger.
Okay, so that is also dependent on getting the clearance, and then you start that
And
process.
that's closer than towers. I mean, that's much advanced.
Okay, so when you say much advanced, what do you mean exactly?
March,
Okay, so March you will go through with
we'll
it?
have
Or?
a separate company which will run fiber, which will run its own affairs. We'd like to invite other fiber assets to come and merge with it, like we did it in Indus Infratel earlier. Vodafone brought in their towers, Idea brought in the towers. This fiber company will invite every other company who has fiber to come and join.
On the regulatory side, IUC, of course, that's the big one coming up. But what else are you seeing in terms of potential figures that could weigh on the business?
I think whatever has to be done is done.
It's done. So the worst is over.
Now we are so used to it, if one or two more things come, we'll do it.
What could that one or two more things be? What are you anticipating?
No, nothing really. I'm saying, but who knows? Surprises are always there. But right now, I think all the things that had to go wrong for us in the regulatory arena has gone wrong. We're all sitting in the courts, and let's see what decisions come out of the courts. But it's pretty much done. It's behind us now. You don't see noise now. You don't see that. Early days of Geo launch bringing in a lot of noise, cacophony, bad blood. I think that's settled.
There is no bad blood anymore.